All right, my beautiful friends, it is Sunday, June 2nd, 2019, and why am I sitting here and not playing at the World Series of Poker? I made an announcement yesterday that I could not do a Markets A Look Ahead segment because I was playing a World Series of Poker event. Well, that was the plan. Let me tell you what happened to me. So yesterday, I go to the Rio. The line for registration, I was going to play the Big 50. I mean, it was epic. Absolutely epic. So I said, hey, you know what? I have nothing better to do today. I just have to waste my time on a line like this. So I got online and I waited for 2 hours. So finally, I get up to the registration room. I'm at the door. I'm at the doorway, few people in front of me, and the tournament got sold out. So I didn't get to play at all. I was kind of bummed by it. However, I'd like to give a big shout out to my friend JP, who is playing in that tournament. He's a fantastic player, has several World Series cashes under his belt, and I wish him the best of luck. So anyway, that's my story here. No poker for me today. I didn't even get dealt the 7 deuce out of position. Anyway, so with that said, why am I doing this video? It's pretty important, actually. So for years and years, I don't know, maybe almost in a decade, I've been explaining to you that the Federal Reserve has no tools in their toolbox. They have one tool, and that is how they manipulate debt. It's really the truth. I'm not making this up. You'll hear Powell get out there, other Fed presidents come out there, and they're going to tell you about their toolbox. They don't have a toolbox. That is a fact. They just twist, manipulate, and rig debt in a way that it either drives cash into the stock market, out of the stock market, into the debt market, out of the debt market. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on at not just the Federal Reserve. I mean, many people, believe it or not, write to me, and they think the Federal Reserve is the only central bank on earth. I mean, there are hundreds of these, and they all work in unison. It's the truth. And they all have the same toolbox, and it consists of one thing: how they rig the debt market, which pulls everything along with it. No secret to any of you that follow this blog. I've been outlining this for you since time immemorial. So here we have an admission, and this is an article, kind of paraphrasing here. I'll place a link to this article in the description of this video. Bloomberg. The Federal Reserve is admitting now that their tools, whatever tools they want you to believe they have, they're just not working anymore in this environment. As a matter of fact, some of the large banks, I think Morgan Stanley, is saying that the yield curve is no longer a valid indicator of what might be coming down the pike. They have to tell you these things. Again, the job of the major banks is to make people believe everything is great, so they'll go out and they'll keep borrowing. If they were to explain to people the truth that our economy is in shambles, and I can't stress that enough, and the Federal Reserve is literally at their end with regard to their ability to rig the debt market, which again causes malinvestments across the spectrum, inflates bubbles, deflates bubbles at the time of their choosing. So what we have here again, and let's put in a little bit more of a perspective on this, the Federal Reserve. How many of us pay attention to this? I really don't know. But the Fed has said for years, we're going to hit our inflation targets. We're going to hit our inflation targets no matter what they do. So how does the Fed try to hit their inflation targets? By buying up debt, printing up epic sums out of thin air, adding dollars to a digital screen, and it's not working. The Fed is missing their inflation targets. And why would that be? I mean, it would just make sense eventually, right? That if they would add enough digits to a screen or print enough dollars or buy enough debt, that at one point we would hit that inflation target. But what they won't tell you, what no one will tell you, and I don't think there's a guy out here who has been trying to put more light on the issue with money velocity than me. The fact that cash is not moving through our economy is humongous. I mean, the Fed can sit here and add digits to a screen all day long exponentially. But if cash isn't moving through the economy, we're not going to get inflation. You understand? And I've explained this in every way I can possibly think of. And here's another way. Like I just said, the Fed can continue to print. They can continue to add digits to a screen from here until whenever. If cash is not moving through the economy, and it's not moving because our economy is failing, they're not going to hit their inflation targets, period. Once that cash starts to move, and I explain to you how this will work, we're going to get a massive sell-off in the debt market. That's going to put a lot of pressure on stocks as yields rise. It's a very simple concept. The same picture what's been going on now for an entire decade. We have a Federal Reserve, all world central banks who have artificially suppressed rates in the negative in a lot of countries around the world, and that has opened a doorway for cash to move into the stock market as investors seek yield. This should be extremely simple to understand. So, in the opposite, if we get an exodus of cash leaving the debt market, rates spike, stocks will sell off, cash does not go to money heaven, it's going to go into suppressed assets. It's very simple to understand. This is why I've been explaining since time immemorial, bet against the debt, become your own central bank. The Fed, other world central banks have no alternative but to inflate here. Governments around the world have also no choice but to continue to inflate the debt. They can't stop. It's the nature of the debt-based economic model. It's that simple. So the fact here, what we're hearing in this article in Bloomberg, is the Fed is now admitting that your tools are not working. And again, their tools never really have worked. All they do, again, is manipulate debt. So, and I've explained this, and I've said the Fed can look at dot plots or whatever fancy names they want to put on things. It doesn't matter anymore. All they're going to do is continue to inflate until we hit that wall. And then we're going to get that sell-off in the debt market, and everything is going to normalize. Again, there is no way to stop. There really isn't. The carnage that is going to unfold around the world when this entire environment corrects to fair value. And people around the world are going to suffer on a scale that is going to be literally biblical. I mean, I don't know. That's the truth. People they've been so indoctrinated into believing that the environment we are in is real, that our leaders have our best interest, that central banks who are working in concert with world leaders have our interest. No, they don't have our interest in mind. They have their own. That's the truth. It's sad to say we have lost here in the United States. We've lost our country. We've lost our freedom. We've lost our ability to understand that most people live in a delusional state. They sincerely believe that what they hear is real from our respective leaders, and they're told everything is great right up until the end. And this is not a new phenomenon. That at the top of every single bubble, going back to 1929, just let your fingers do the walking. Listen to what the leaders at that time were saying. Here in the United States, for example, look at every single world leader in the United States, and at the top of every single bubble, they say the same things. Everything is great, couldn't be better, there's nothing to worry about. And then all of a sudden, who gets punished? We do. The people do. And it's a horrible thing. All right, look. So with this, the premise of this video is pretty straightforward. The Fed has no control anymore, and they're losing the ability to keep things inflated. And what does that mean? That means, again, all of this cannot be sustained. So they are going to continue to print. They're going to continue to add digits to a screen, inflate the debt, The money velocity is not moving. They can continue to do this, and we're not going to see inflation until cash starts to move. I mean, of course, if you go to the store, you see prices rising right now, but this is nothing as to what can potentially unfold when that money velocity starts to kick up. All of these extra bills, in whatever form they exist in, whether it's digital, which is most of them, on the planet, and don't take my word for this, go to the Federal Reserve's own website and put in currency in circulation. There's only $1.7 trillion of actual printed cash. That's it. The rest of it exists in digital form. It's not real. It's not on the elemental chart. So how can anything be real? The distortions that exist in the bond market are unbelievable. And because of that, malinvestments have occurred across the spectrum of asset classes. It will correct to fair value. At one point, that money velocity is going to kick up. All of those extra bills will chase the same amount of goods. It's a mathematical certainty. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. And who's going to suffer? The people are going to suffer. And that's why I am here, trying to let people understand what's coming down the pike. It's that simple. But at the same time, again, if we make more people aware of this, because we're all on the same team, the better off we're all going to be in the end, because people, we're going to need each other in the end. That's the truth. All right, look, with that said, it's kind of been an interesting Markets A Look Ahead segment. I think this is a long look ahead, not just for the coming week. This coming week, I'll touch on that real quick, is going to be driven by political events, period, the end. What the market does is anybody's guess at this point. And I've been day trading this market, as most of you know, using a 100% free system. It's free for you. Anyway, just a link in the description of this video, along with a link to that article, my Renko trading system. I don't ask for anything. I just want you to use the system, and if you profit from it, please pay it forward. Take a percentage of that profit and donate it to a charity that you believe in. That's it. Because again, we are all responsible for each other, people. And if we start adopting that attitude, we'll make a better world for everyone. It's the truth. This guy loves you. I will see you in the morning. Share this video if you think it's been important. I think I covered on some important things. See you tomorrow.